Okay, I might have had too much fun whenever I made this form. Whenever I was a kid, I loved the create your own adventure stories. I would take one from the library and I would read it with all of my initial choices, and then I would go back and reread it by making the opposite choices to see how the story could have turned out. So that was the idea in mind whenever I made this form here about Goldilocks. It is a create your own adventure story, and the way it was set up was each of these responses or choices are choices that would go to a page based on an answer. So we'll just kind of go through here very quickly, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up. So Goldilocks is faced with a decision here. Should she break and enter into the home, or should she just turn around and go home like she normally should? So I'm going to just go the easier out here. She should go home, and then she's still wondering, should she break in or should she go home? And again, I'm just going to choose the easy route so that way this can end. And if I hit continue at the end there, it's over. Now, I could have done this so that story went on and on and on, and it's because of all the choices that I have in there. So I'm going to show you very quickly how to create a form based on answers so that pages advance depending on the answers, but then also just give you a little bit of insight of how I set this up. Let me leave here. And I'm going to go over here. Now, the first thing I will say is that if you want to make a create your own adventure story, the hard part is the script. So you want to make sure that you've got a script that is all lined out with choices here. These are my choices as I'm going through. And you want to explore every avenue. Whenever you're making this is where you're obviously going to spend the most amount of time. So I'm going to go back into my drive. I'm going to click New, Forms. I need to give this one a name. Okay, so for the very first page, the question title is the beginning of the script. So it's this right here. This is going to be one of the only times that you're going to see this, okay? So I'm going to copy that and come down here where it says Untitled Question and paste. Now for my choices of what people will say, what should Goldilocks do, I'm going to go back over here. And I can copy both of them at the same time and then just go over here and click in option 1, paste, and both of them are going to go. So that is a great feature that Google Forms has. Okay, now I'm done with this one and it looks exactly right here. Okay, so the next thing that I have to do is add another page, because this was the only thing that we saw on that first page where it says add item. I'm going to go over here and hit page break, and then my second page is going to be the answer for turn around and go home the way she normally would, no bullies worth going to jail over. So I'm going to go back to my script, and I am going to copy this. What I'm doing right now is just making this easier on myself, so whenever I go back later I will have this part. Then I hit done there. Okay, now on my second page here where she's going to turn around and go home the way she normally would, I need to have another choice, just because that's the way that I wrote my story. And on that page, this was the next section. That was the next part of the script. Whenever we were going through there earlier, we saw that. So I need to add a multiple choice item here. In the question title, I'm going to paste in that text, and then I'm going to go back to the script, grab my two choices, copy them, and then come down here and paste them in. Okay, so now I actually have something, so I can set up these so they will go to the right page. I'm going to go ahead and put in the next section of my script just so I have a little bit more to work with. Okay, so copy that. Actually, I'm going to wait. I want to copy this first. This is if Goldilocks has decided to check the security cameras. I'm going to add a page break, and my new page title is going to be checking for those security cameras. And on this page, again, multiple choice, come back over here, grab the text, and then come back and get my answers. Okay, so I just continue going on with that. Like I said, the script is where you're going to spend the most amount of your time. Okay, so right here, once I've got everything in, I want to get all of it in, and you're going to see why I put the answers at the top of each page here in just a minute. I'm going to go back and edit, and I want this to say go to page based on answer. Turn around and go home the way she normally would. If I click where it says continue to next page, that's this one right there. Turn around and go home. Check for security cameras. Right there. I'm done with that one. So now I'm going to do the same thing here. Go to page based on answer. Check for security cameras is right here. Turn around and go home is right there. And on this one, I only have one of these in here, the turn around and go home. Okay, so you saw how I made it easier on myself by putting the choices as the page titles, because that way I didn't have to think, oh, was that page 2, was that page 3, was that page 4, whatever it was, the title was right there for me. Now let's just view this so we can check and make sure it works. Let's see here, we want her to turn around and go home the way she normally would. And again, I want her to turn around and go home now. And that's the end. So whenever I go back into my form, I'm going to want to add, let me leave this page here. I'm going to want to add on turn around and go home now a little culmination, a solution to the story, so it's ending just like I did on my original one whenever I went through. But it's very, very easy to make these forms so that they will go to page based on answer, and a creative way that you can get back some of your childhood into your classroom today.